Welcome to the All In Podcast, the show that explores how the top real estate entrepreneurs have gone all in on their businesses. I'm your host, David Morse, with my co-host, Joe Quattrucci, and I invite you to come along with us as we explore the stories of the most elite professionals in the game today to learn how they went all in and how you and I can do the same. So I just have to ask, are you all in? Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the All In Podcast. I'm your host, David Morse, with my co-host,
Joe Quattrucci, and today we're here with Rich Barker.
Rich Barker. Dude, I love when we get to interview people that we're in business with. Rich is a phenomenal agent here in Arizona with a phenomenal team. He has grown a big business. I'm excited that we get to be in business with him and talk and learn, and that all of our guests get to hear from Rich today. So how are you, Rich?
I'm doing great. And if we're going to be here together for the next 30, 50 minutes, it has to be Rich Barker. Right?
Barker.
Don't pronounce the R's.
Like a good
Just get it over there. Right?
Rich Barker.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, with that being said, Rich Barker, start us off at the beginning. Give our listeners a kind of a general overview of who you are, where you come from, and what line of work you're in.
Absolutely. Well, from Boston, Massachusetts, actually from Malden, Massachusetts.
Malden.
Yeah, back in the day. I was born back in 72, graduated high school in 1990, went off to college. Went on to pursue my baseball dream, and within the first year of college, I left the sport and pursued racquetball.
What? What?
Yeah, pursued racquetball.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was I'm not gonna say I was like one of the top players, but I was in New England. I was one of the top players.
Racquetball.
And traveled around playing
No kidding.
racquetball for a couple of years. Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect. I didn't even know racquetball did that.
Oh my God! You should see the. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, we have one. Yeah. So, played that for a while, and obviously you made a little bit of money, but just to travel and drink and eat, that's about it.
Sure.
And then I decided I have to get back into baseball. So I went back to college, got drafted in 1994 by the Chicago Cubs. And I was a 37th round pick, which means not 37th overall pick. I was like the 1,100th overall pick back in the day.
Hey, but you were picked. That says something.
Yeah, I was picked.
That's still elite company.
It was. And I just, I have a ton of grit and determination. And when someone says you can't do something, that just fuels me more. So I worked my way through pretty much every level. Sometimes twice I had to take the class over. I had to repeat A-ball a few times. But got put on the big league roster in 1998, big leagues 99, injured myself. And then I obviously had to retire, and I got into a few businesses after that. Very entrepreneurial. And then back in 2010, I got into real estate. And Keller Williams, honestly, for me personally, the systems and models is a game plan. There's a blueprint, ever how you want to dissect it. And that's what I'm used to. I grew up in the sports world. It's the same routine. Everyone's on the same page, pitchers and catchers meeting. I was a pitcher, and how to learn tendencies of hitters, how to, really study, the defense of how we're going to position the defense. And that's what we have here. And it was just a natural fit. So I got into real estate back in February 2010 and been with KW ever since.
Awesome. Well, give everyone an idea, an overview, because you run a team now, and some of our listeners don't know what that means. Tell us what is team real estate? What does that look like? And what does your team, specifically the Barker team, look like?
There it is. Now we can talk now.
There we go.
So, honestly, just like in any sports, there's individual positions, and you're responsible for your position. Do your job. One of the Patriots, main thing that they say, do your job. Everyone has a role. And that's the same approach that I've taken into real estate. So we have a team of 7 or 8, actually about 8 buyer agents right now. They all have their role on the team that they just work with buyers. We have a listing division. So we have a listing manager that handles all the administrative work, all the back end, and pretty much runs the listing specialist lives because they keep us in check. We have full-time marketing department. We have a operations department. And, in this year, we restructured. From last year to this year, we lost a few agents, and we brought on a few really talented agents, and we're kicking full speed ahead right now. It's going pretty well.
So when you started your career and you were getting things going back in 2010, did you know that building a team was kind of the end result, or were you just getting into real estate without exactly knowing where it was going to lead?
I got into real estate. A good friend of mine, he's a builder here, privately owned builder, one of the biggest ones, actually the biggest private builder here in Arizona. And he told me to get into real estate, and I just listened to him. He's very successful. And then after getting on a team, when I first joined, I'm like, this is pretty cool. I think I want my own team. So after being on that team for a year and a half, we partnered together, or actually after basically February 2010, the following year, 2011, we were business partners. And then midway through 2012, I started my own team. And it just made sense. Everything that we do here in real estate and how we perform real estate on our team and with KW just falls in line exactly what I'm used to. So it's very comfortable. It's very familiar for me, to me.
Right.
And it's really just staying in our swim lanes. Stay in your swim lane. There's times I have to dabble in other areas. Obviously, I'm the team owner as well, so I'm working in the business as well as on the business. Yet I try not to get in anyone else's way that I'm paying to run, that side of the business.
Take us into that phrase a little bit, in the business versus on the business. What does that mean, and why should real estate agents that are listening to this be able to make that distinction?
There's two things. Working on the business is growing your business. It is strategizing, is strategic planning and developing and budgeting of what you're going to do next, and when you chunk it down, when you're going to implement those strategies. Yet when you're working in the business, if you're running, 10, 15 listings a month, it gets a little challenging of developing new strategies, new systems, and getting better. So the difference of working in the business and on the business, if you work too much in the business, you're probably not going to grow. You may grow locally, but if you want to kind of expand your horizon, maybe all throughout Maricopa County and have micro pods throughout the valley, it's going to be very difficult if you're only working in the business and not on the business. And you're going to miss a lot of opportunities as well.
Yeah, so that kind of outlines like the MREA model, kind of the book that we all follow at Keller Williams, where Gary Keller teaches leverage as you progress. And number one, lead with revenue. So start making some money, then slowly over time you can start hiring leverage. And exactly to your point, hire people to take on some of the roles and responsibilities that you have, so you have the time and the freedom to look up and start planning big picture stuff.
Absolutely.
So in that, where would you say that you currently fall in that journey? Are you pretty much at the point where you're leveraged and you can be away, for example, at an all-in podcast all afternoon and things won't fall apart? Or how much in the business do you still spend?
So I'm still day to day. I'm still in the grind. I'm still one of the listing specialists. I do have a director of sales, and he also been on our team. He also kind of runs my team, runs the training. So he really takes a lot of that day-to-day training and education and answering the questions for the agents off my plate, so I can get back some time so I can work on the business. But I do actively go on, 15, 20 plus listing appointments a month.
Wow.
So so I'm pretty much in the grind every day like everybody else, in our industry is. So, yeah.
Right.
Definitely. So one of the things that you mentioned that you made this progression pretty quick from being on a team to partnering up. And it sounds like that didn't necessarily last very long before you decided to go out on your own. But definitely a question that came into my mind is this idea of partnerships. Take us back, and I don't know if how much we can get into it, but what did it look like as a newer agent to approach someone and have that conversation about partnership? Like, what did you know that you wanted back then that you didn't have?
Right.
And why take that step out to try and get into partnership with someone?
So, that's a great question. And early in your career, when you first get into real estate, who gives a damn?
You can say it.
Who gives a damn if you're a major league pitcher? Would be you owned a sports performance training facility. Would be you owned a performance training line of apparel. You're in real estate. I'll tell you this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Getting to the big leagues believe me, that was extremely hard. Nothing like real estate. And it's awesome. I love it. How can I go up to someone that's been in the industry for 20 years and say, this is what I want? Right? So that was the team I was on, and I'm still friends with the gentleman now. We had a great team. And I basically said, listen, this is what I want to do. I would love to do it with you because you have the knowledge. I'm 9 months into the industry. So I proved myself, though, that year to have that conversation. So I'll never ask for anything until I prove myself to that person. And I feel that I have the right to approach that person for whatever opportunity there may be. And I proved myself. He's been in the industry forever. And I pumped out 19 deals in 8 months in 2010.
Wow.
So, so that kind of gave me a little bit of clout and the opportunity to engage with him and to have that conversation. And he saw it. He saw that drive, and we partnered up that year.
And I think the reason I went there too is because I'm constantly telling agents that I want them to think like business people from day one. And whether you consciously knew it or not, you were thinking like a business person. You wanted something more than just being in the business.
Yep.
You wanted ownership. You wanted partnership opportunity. And when you perform, you put yourself in that lane to receive opportunity like that. You had something valuable to offer. And I think that's important, even though you're 9 months in.
Yeah.
Like to be thinking along those lines. So bring us back to sports, because you said the big leagues was hard, but real estate is harder.
Yeah.
I've had the opportunity to hire some agents who, either them or their significant other are in professional sports. Do you think that benefits a real estate agent to come from that type of environment?
Absolutely. I mean, I think athletes and at any level that played at a higher level, whether it's major league, college, the mindset to get you to that level and failure rate. I mean, you can fail 7 out of 10 times in baseball and you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, that's insane, right? So the grind and the determination and the grit you have to have just changes who you are in a good way when you approach business opportunities. In real estate, because you're always getting no, right? But more no's gets you closer to the yes. It's constantly, every deal is completely different. Every single batter is completely different. Every single umpire is completely different. How is that umpire? Does he like the outside pitch? Does he like the inside, low, up, down, in, out? Right? So you got to study these tendencies of the actual umpire as well as the hitter, and you got to know who's behind you playing the defense. Right? So that all just translates right into real estate. Everything changes every day. You have to put into practice. The game is the easy part. I mean, legit, the game is the showcase. That's why you practice. That's why you train. That's why you give up your holidays to go train. Christmas morning, New Year's morning, you're training to get ready for the ultimate game. Is spring training to make a team and then go perform that night or that day, because the Cubs play during the day, and go execute. Right? It's the same thing with real estate. You role play, you script practice. You're constantly trying to become a master at your craft. So when you're on that appointment, buyer or seller appointment, that's the easy part because you did all the training. Me sitting here with you talking about this is the easy part.
Yeah.
Right? All the training is what people don't see. When the lights are off, what are you going to do? That's what I tell people. When no one's watching, right? How do you perform? Are you just saying you trained, but you really didn't? Can I tell you, for the 9 years I played pro ball, there wasn't one Christmas day that I did not work out. Right? New Year's Day. There's not one New Year's Day that I didn't work out, even if I got home at 4 a.m. Right. I might want to cut that part out.
So, Rich, as this conversation applies to you managing a team now of several different, real estate agents and administrators, do you expect everybody on your team to have this business mindset mentality, or are there certain people on your team who can be the integrators, the doers, so to speak, and work the 9 to 5, and then you identify maybe a small minority of the agents who are future business owners and business leaders, and then you kind of mold and craft them into additional responsibilities and ownership responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We just said yes to all of it. When you're running a team, different personality profiles are going to be best suited for more administrative stuff, more transactional based, and finding that right person for that job is extremely important. But also, what I'll even touch on a little bit more is the culture. Culture is huge. When you're in baseball, you have people from third world countries making no money, making $800 a month. That was my first salary in baseball, was $800 a month in rookie ball in Huntington, West Virginia. They were sending money back to their family, right? So you have to understand the different profile of everyone on the team from all over the country and all over the world. I'm a kid from the East Coast. I go down to Florida. You get the Southern boys, right? You get the West Coast boys. You get the Latinos. I mean, it gets crazy in the clubhouse. So managing and being able to communicate as well as perform with them, it's just like in real estate, because you're going to have different profiles, you're going to have different personalities, not good or bad, it's just the way it is. And knowing how to communicate with them and to figure out what their motivation is and to help them succeed, whatever their goals are, whether they want to be a business owner, whether they want future opportunities in my organization, to be a director of whatever we're doing, or to be one of my expansion partners in a different city or different state. I'm always looking for that. So yes, absolutely, we're looking for that. What I'll tell you is, again, you got to earn it. It's not going to be appointed, right? When you appoint somebody, how does the rest of the team feel? Because you appointed that person. They're not going to follow that person, right? So that person has to earn the right. So when they do get promoted to that role, they have people that are following. And they're going to be able to lead those people and maybe mold somebody into getting into another leadership position.
So, Rich, tactically, how do you dig into someone's motivations?
Want me to tell you the honest truth with motivation? Can't motivate anybody. You either have it or you don't, period. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. You're not motivating me at all. There's nothing you could say or do that's going to motivate me. I love winning, not because of anything else other than me personally. So what I feel, in my opinion, is when somebody is out there and struggling, and you can tell when someone's down and out, it's having a bad day or whatever it may be, it's really just talking to them and just opening up, being there and listening to them. Hey, I noticed something, you're not yourself today. Is there anything I can do? Right? So it's more of figuring out how to take stuff off their plate that maybe that will open up their mind to get them back on. So I send inspirational quotes. I do all that stuff. Because it's very important. I love looking at affirmations or reading affirmations. I love reading. I shouldn't say I love reading books. I read books. I don't love reading books.
You understand the importance of reading books.
Yeah, I know the importance of reading books and staying educated and informed. So I like to share that, and I'm hoping that I can not motivate, inspire somebody to be the best version of themselves.
So I think, David, you probably brought up that question around motivation to kind of open up a bigger conversation around culture, which you mentioned, Rich. Talk to us a little bit about culture. How do you establish a strong culture on a team, especially in your case where that team is expanding, not only locally but across state lines? So talk to us a little bit about that.
I'll tell you right now, for the past few months now, all of 2020 and some of 2019, it's the best culture I've ever had on my team. Over 10 years now I've been doing this, going into year 11. And what I attribute that to is my director of sales, Ben, right now. Honestly. And I can be, the figurehead, come in, motivation, and like I said, you're not going to motivate them, but inspire them.
Yep.
And I can go out there and do all that, yet I'm not the right person to manage a team. I am not good at that. I'll tell you right now, I'm very good at training and giving stories. I love storytelling. That's how I get my point across, is storytelling, and hopefully that inspires them. But I'll tell you right now, the respect that everyone has on the team for each other right now is unbelievable. I've never experienced that. In baseball, I've experienced it a few times. But the culture, if you don't have a good culture, geez, you guys know, it's just miserable.
It's an interesting point that you bring up, that you're not necessarily the person in your organization to run the organization. So I'm just thinking about all the listeners right now that may be thinking to themselves, geez, it'd be cool to have a team. I just really don't want to personally have to. That's not where my motivation lies. That's not what inspires me every day. I'd rather go on listing appointments. But what I hear you saying is you can build that team around you with leverage so that you can still go on the listing appointments and have somebody else that's really leading the day-to-day, where, of course, you're still owning and managing that person.
Yeah.
So what do you think that director did for your team to create what are the things that he's doing on a daily and weekly basis to keep that camaraderie amongst your agents?
His number one focus is up-leveling the agents on the team. And his passion is to watch a person grow, doesn't matter what age, start at, on the first floor and end up on the 100th floor through consistent training and the behavior that it takes to be successful in any industry. Doesn't matter what it is, it's consistency, doing the same thing over and over and mastering your craft. 10 years or 10,000 hours to become the best whatever you want to be in your craft, right? So consistent behavior is in training has really shaped up our team. And it's not just me flying in, all right, let's do a training class. All right, this is how you look on MLS search. Good, you good? All right, I'm out. See ya. Close the deal. All right, the seagull approach, fly in, fly out. Yeah. And that's what it took. And when you have that passion, like I love coaching, period. Like sports, anything, I love coaching. Now, when I coach my team, I'm a horrible coach because I'm tied to the result. When you're tied to the result, your team is impure. I remember Gary Keller saying this in one of our mastermind groups. Pete Rose was a player coach, and I can't remember, a few basketball players were player coaches, and their team is impure because you're a player coach. You're trying to lead them, but you need them. So when you need someone, you can't lead them, right? Yeah. So having that buffer and have someone that's very passionate about up-leveling their performance as a real estate agent, as a business owner, and as a partner, as a spouse, a significant other, as a dad, as a mom. That is his passion, and that's what changed my culture.
Wow.
That 100% changed my culture. Because I love everybody. Believe me, I can't say no to people. That's my problem. Yet I don't have the time in the day if I'm working in the business, on the business, and to be their coach.
Yeah.
Just not good. I'm not good. I can tell you, I'm horrible at it.
And this really just reaffirms what we've talked about in the past with, the career visioning and the hiring process, that agents, we expect to see some amount of attrition rate and turnover. They come and go. Really having that rock solid administrative team can make or break your company and make or break the culture within your company.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Ben is that person for you.
Absolutely. I mean, our businesses are systems and processes, period. If we don't have a good system and process, to be able to capture the business from whoever's on our team, then the nutrition rate's gonna be 70% or more, because you're just churning and burning. And right. I know plenty of teams that operate that way, and they're cool with that. I mean, that's their model. I mean, it's okay. Yet that's not the model. Over 70% of my business is past clients, repeat, SOI type of business. So, and it's that relationship that we really strive on, and we want clients for life. That's important to us. It's important to get those referrals. I love getting handwritten notes from clients and getting emails from clients just saying how good of a job, and they haven't experienced this before. And I've sold over 25 homes on my own before. Yeah. Right? It's pretty cool.
So you've brought us up to the point where your organization is now. Where are you going? What's the big dream of the Baca team?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first milestone is 100 million in sales volume. We were on pace before COVID hit. Took a little break, a little stall on that, but we're starting to ramp back up. I mean, that's the first milestone, and 20 locations in Arizona. And what I mean by that is that because I can drive to anywhere in the valley within an hour, half hour here. Yeah, when you can serve on the local level, that community, because we've done it in hyperlocal communities in the East Valley and out in Tucson. When you have a person there, it's unbelievable, the business that you can, with the assistance of models, that you can just turn the switch, that you can create more than when you're just trying to service it out of, Scottsdale, Fountain Hills, wherever you're located.
Let's talk about that idea.
Yeah.
That idea for a second, expansion.
Yeah.
And so you've built a strong hub with systems and models and administration and culture. And what you're doing now, or your next goal, is 20 locations within Arizona that are not part of your hub.
Correct.
So when you're looking for those expansion partners to bring into your company, what type of qualities, attributes, what kind of agent are you looking for to partner with?
That's a great question. It's show up, be on time, and be open-minded. That's what I'm looking for.
Fairly straightforward.
That's it. That's my three things.
Write that down, y'all.
Yep. Show up, be on time, and be open-minded.
Funny thing is, for realtors though, that may seem like a stretch on right?
I do think we started this 5 minutes late.
Case in point.
Right? But that's it. But now when you dive into each one of those, it's massive. So when I say that every time I speak, or anybody, show up, be on time, be open-minded. Mm-hmm. If I can have an agent that's doing that, we can mold them into what we want. Now, obviously, for expanding, we need someone that is driven, that has a track record, and that has a presence in the local community. It's just going to make things a lot easier. I've opened up without having a presence with an agent that had a presence in that area, and we had already established ourselves pretty well, and we did okay. But when I turned somebody that knows that area, it was night and day. It really was. And I'm okay with either one, yet it's just more work for my director of sales, not me.
Joe, I want you to take a minute on that too, because I mean
Yeah.
that's your world, is identifying and bringing people into your organization to do that within your company. So like,
Yeah.
what should an expansion partner look like?
Well, and I love what Rich said about you're really looking for somebody that's open-minded. Each expansion team is a little bit different. Their culture's different. Their models are a little bit different, and the way they conduct their businesses may be a little bit different. And so the whole idea, and this applies obviously directly to what you're saying, Rich, is that you've built a system at the hub that you know works. It works for you. It works for your people. It works in Arizona. It works in this environment. So all we're looking for is somebody who's open-minded enough and eager enough that your team can mold and teach and guide into using exactly what you've already proven to work. And I think that's true pretty much for every expansion team. They've got some system, some model, some unique and disruptive value proposition that they've mastered, and now they want you to go execute on it.
Yeah.
And so somebody that's open-minded and who is eager and willing to learn, following a proven system or roadmap, that's the ideal candidate for an expansion team.
And I wanted to spend some time there because I don't think the typical real estate agent actually thinks about this, thinks about expansion, understands that concept. And maybe the best analogy is just compare it to McDonald's. Like McDonald's is McDonald's because that hub, that initial location, figured out a fast way to make a hamburger.
Yes.
To put the ketchup on, throw the lettuce on, and they said, okay, we can write this down and duplicate this. And then it just boom, 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 into the golden arches that is now. Real estate is the same way. You have to figure out what is that system of making a hamburger for your team. And once you figure that out and know you can duplicate it over and over, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
You can go anywhere you want in the world.
Yep.
In the world.
And Gary talks about this in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, where I think what happens is sometimes people come into the industry and they want to get creative and they have a new or a better idea, or they're really secretly trying to avoid an activity, so they go figure out some other activity. And what the Millionaire Real Estate Agent talks about is you've got to first build a really strong foundation of proven systems, tools, and models, and then once you have some revenue and once you've had the time to really experience some things, now you can start to get a little creative and adapt and tweak systems. But if you try to do that without the rock solid foundation, you end up toppling over.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that, Rich?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the E to P, right? Entrepreneurial, purposeful, right? If you don't have that foundation, you're going to keep getting too creative and you're going to tip right over. So you need to have that strong foundation. It's just like when you're studying scripts and learning scripts, like actors and actresses, they don't make it their own until they internalize it. They read it verbatim. And then once they internalize it, now they can tweak it. Now they can get a little bit creative to make it who they are and why you want to go see them. It's the same thing.
Definitely.
That's a really good analogy. I'd heard the whole actor analogy before, but the way you just explained that around the scripts really made a lot of sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I know that one of the important aspects of your business is your foundation.
Yeah.
And what I'm specifically interested in talking to you about that is how you've integrated that passion into your business. Because on the All In podcast, we talk about going all in on your life and your business, and clearly you are passionate about that. And I'm interested in how you've integrated that into your business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So my foundation is called the Richard F. Bacher Foundation. And what we do is we help find missing and exploited children. I mean, one of the one of the big things right now, and you're hearing a lot about it right now, is, sex trafficking, and, in and out of, a lot of people coming in and out of Mexico, and we're a border town or border state. So it's really important to bring awareness. And the cool thing is that with our business here, and being one of the official charities of minor league baseball through one of our affiliate partners, Dennis Bear. I used to play baseball with him. His nonprofit's called bearfind.org, and he got the official minor league charity status. So why that's relevant for me is because I can go into any community that there's a minor league team, and we're showcasing our kids that are missing for that hyper-local community, and I can lead with contribution. Right? And who isn't going to want to come to an event that we're hosting that's going to go help find these kids that are missing? We found over 62% of kids last year.
Wow.
In all of, not just Arizona. In Arizona, we showcased 8 kids, and we've safely located 7.
Wow.
Right. So when you look at that, and when you look at the impact you can have on a family, because milk cartons, the kids on the back of milk cartons, you guys are too young for this, but that went out 25 years ago.
Right.
Right. So other than your Amber Alerts, which we do get on the phones, and you get them on the street signs when you're driving around the communities, these parents don't have a vehicle or a platform to really showcase their children, right? And I say showcase with all the respect in the world, because that's what we're doing. We want to showcase these kids. Yeah. We want to get as many eyeballs as possible, because that's what's going to bring viewers, that the viewers are going to bring back these kids home. And it's like, bring a kid home. I
mean, that's obviously an incredible cause. Rich, if you don't mind me asking, what makes that specific cause important to you?
My friend Dennis. Flat out, I knew nothing about missing and exploited children until Dennis Bear, when he was rehabbing, he was on his way to his big leagues, and he got hurt, and he was sitting at a hotel in Mesa rehabbing, and he had a very emotional story watching it on TV, and he, for whatever reason, struck a chord with him. And I told him from day one, this is over 20 years ago now, I go, that's $1 million idea. Like that is something that people can get behind and really want to help. And his passion gave me passion for it. I mean, that's how I got into it. Honestly, it's just seeing how motivated he is, and his drive, and not living in the greatest situations at times, just so he can live his passion of finding and helping kids, and finding and helping selfishly located kids. And that's what gave me the passion, is seeing his motivation. It really did.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
So I have a question about that. So let's talk new agents, or maybe a few years into the business, and they're passionate about X, you name it, whatever it is. I think right now social entrepreneurship is really big. But I also think that a lot of entrepreneurs go about it in the wrong way, meaning that they don't know how to integrate the two. Right. And as a result, it may come off as not genuine, right? Everyone since Tom's Shoes wants to be Tom's Shoes.
Right.
We're going to donate this for that. How have you found is the best way to go about integrating the two? Do you have any words of advice on that?
It's really finding what struck you as a young child that you may have interest in, and as you got older, you just haven't been able to fulfill that desire. Like I said, for me, it was watching my friend, right? So for me, it came later on in my life, right? I don't know what it was. I just like helping people, period. And this is when I heard this, it was a great way that I could get behind, where I'm not coming across what you just said. Yeah. Like you just said, I don't want to come across that's why. Now this year I'm going to do way better with it. That's why you don't see me really promoting it much. Like that's not the way I am, because I don't want to come across that way. Yet what I will tell you is, I don't really care if people think that's why I'm doing it. It's irrelevant to me anymore, because I know internally, as long as you're leading from your heart. I tell this to everybody. It doesn't matter what you say or do, where if you're leading from your heart, you're never going to screw up. And if other people can't understand that, there's just no place. Find a different seat, get off the table. Right. I mean, that's the way I really feel about that. So it's just find something that you're passionate about it, and don't be afraid to express yourself. Now, if you're just trying to find something just to find something, to say I do a charity, great, you can help that charity out, throw them some money and use it. Yeah, that's not why you help charities, in my opinion.
Yeah. So find something that you're
extremely passionate about.
Exactly.
Because you have to understand, real estate will fund. The more we do in real estate that we make, I'm able to fund more of helping find and bringing the kids home. I can plug in and donate more money, get more signs, get into bigger billboards instead of spending $1,000 on a nice banner with the foundation that we use that helps us make these things, right? So now going to digital, getting some billboards, but it can't happen unless you make money.
Yeah.
So if you're that passionate about something, you're going to find a way to make money.
We were just talking about this in yesterday's All-In Mastermind. So we started these masterminds for real estate agents, all over. And we were talking about intention. And what you're getting at, Rich, is if the intention is strong enough, you're going to figure out the mechanism, right? So we talked about the money equation, which is intention plus mechanism equals money.
Yeah.
And the question that was posed is how much of that is intention and how much is mechanism? And really the answer that Joe and some of the others in there came up with is that it's 100% intention. if the intention is strong enough for me to get to Florida, I'm going to figure out a way to get to Florida. Whether it's walking, driving, taking a plane, scuba diving, I'll figure it out. The intention has to be strong enough. And so with whether it's charitable contribution or whatever, if that is what you're truly passionate about, and you say, I've got to go find 10 kids this year, that's powerful. You're going to figure out a way to get the money. You're going to figure out a way to close on those properties. You're going to figure out a way to build the business to a place where you get to do that if the intention is strong enough. Super important.
So I have something to add on to that intention because it hits back to my baseball day. So left baseball 2.5 years, out of the game. But I graduated high school at 17. I was in college at 17. Not because I was smart. It was just because I was an October birthday. That's
Show off.
Show off. Yeah.
Professional baseball, 17-year-old college.
Right? So I left the game. I left the game after 2, and I was supposed to get drafted. So I left the game in 1994. I'll tell you, I mean, I remember where I was. In 1993, I was working at Fuddruckers on Route 1 in Saugus. It just opened up.
Saugus, Mass.
Saugus, Mass, right?
Yeah.
And
just for the record, we were like 3.
Oh, killing me. Right? I was flipping burgers. That's what I was doing. I was doing the fries. I got upgraded to do the buns. And I got upgraded to do the grill. Fuddruckers burgers are unbelievable. This isn't the plug for Fuddruckers, but it's so good. Right? But I was flipping burgers, and I'm like, what the heck am I doing here? So Montgomery, that just passed away for the Red Sox. Oh, my God. Bob Montgomery, right? Yeah, he just passed. He walked into Fuddruckers, and then I haven't played in 2.5 years. I said, I'm going to go talk to him right now. I need a tryout. I need to get back to baseball. So my intention was to go talk to him, and I did it, right? Yet what it did is I left that day. I had a little fight with the guy that was preparing the buns for my burger because he was stalling them, so I would screw up. Because I took the master chef or the burger chef, because you have to cook a medium rare. There's a whole system. He was delaying intentionally because he was the man there, and they wanted to give me a shot on the grill. So I started getting the freaking the spatula and getting the burgers and just flipping them out, like in the middle of 5 o'clock. Needless to say, I didn't work there much longer after that. Right? I actually quit. They weren't gonna. They probably would have fired me. So, but what that was is that my intention was, I said to myself right then and there, I'm getting to the big leagues. Period. So that was '93, the fall of '93. I went to up in Danvers, Mass. They had an indoor batting facility. I went to the guy. Didn't know the guy. I go, listen. I need to hit every day, and I need a catcher because I was a pretty good shortstop, first baseman, but I could hit. And how much will you charge me? So he gave me, I can't remember what it was. It was a couple $100 a month. Got a catcher, could hit every day. Played summer ball. Went back to college in 1990, in 93, and at Quinsigamond Community College in Worcester, Massachusetts, where I was 3 years ago, 3 years prior to that, and ended up getting drafted. But there was zero chance I was going to fail. Like I can say that you can say it's cocky, it's confident. Like I knew I was going to get to the big leagues, period. And when like you said with the money, you figure out a way to do it. First one in, last one to leave.
You had a strong enough intention driving every action thereafter. And that's why we when I'm talking to agents, you've got to figure out why you're in real estate and what do you want the outcome to be? Like what is important to you about this? Why are you pursuing this? And if you're not passionate about it, if it's just something that you're doing because you saw it on TV and you think you can come in and make a quick couple bucks, you're gonna end up finding yourself in a position where you're not motivated to go out there and make the calls. You're not motivated to go out there and actually help people, and that's why there's such a high attrition rate. Yeah. So anybody that's in real estate, number one, if you're finding that you're in a position right now where you're not loving life, you need to do a reassessment on whether or not real estate's for you. And look, there's no shame, there's no judgment if it's not the right career path for you.
Not at all.
But figure it out for yourself. Stop wasting your own time and figure out what would suit you better.
Absolutely.
If you know that real estate is for you, sometimes it helps to remember why it's important to us.
Yep.
And to re-energize ourselves and relight that fire and then go out there and take action.
Absolutely. Because without that strong conviction of what you're going to do and why you're doing it, don't even bother. All you're doing is just passing time. If you need to pass time, just make a few bucks until you figure it out, great. But go find out what you want to do and go all in, period.
Definitely.
Can we quote you on that?
Absolutely. This depends. Do I have ace king pre-flop? Is it suited or not suited? Right?
Well, this has been a great conversation, Rich, and I want to segue into our last segment of our show, which is 3, 2, 1 action. 3 rapid fire questions that we ask every guest. Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
Is your seat getting hot?
I'm sweating, as you can see. I don't know what the heck's going on.
We are on high definition 4K.
We're lucky to have a linen
We've got
shirt.
lights. We've got cameras.
I mean, Joe and I are pretty intense interviewers.
Making them sweat over here.
Sweat.
So, question number 1, Joe.
Rich, who is the one person, whether you've met them or not, who has had the most impactful influence on your business?
Great question. The number one person, if I met him or not, I mean, I have my answer. I'm just making sure it's the correct answer.
Is that your final answer?
It's my final answer. Not knowing it at the time, knowing it now, Gary Keller. And he has been, when I got into real estate, I had no idea like what Gary Keller was, who he was, didn't even really know much about real estate. But looking at what he's built, holy cow. The grit and the grind, the determination that he had to do to build something like that, unbelievable.
Wow.
So prior to that was my friend that is a new home builder, like big.
That got you into real estate.
That got me into real estate. Yep. And I've known him for 15 years now, and he motivated me just in general. But he's the one that got me into real estate. And then once I got into real estate, then following Gary. Yeah.
And now as a top agent, I mean, I know this because we work together. I mean, you get to sit in the room with Gary and you get to learn from him and see what he's building on an international level. What an opportunity. So question number 2.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Go ahead.
You already professed your love of books.
Yeah.
So question number 2 is, what is the single most impactful book on your business that you've read?
I mean, MREA. I mean,
Okay, don't get. You can't give the acronym.
Yeah.
People don't know what that is.
Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller.
Millionaire Real Estate
Agent. And I think there was Dave Jenks was part of that as well. And
Yeah.
So that's the Bible of real estate, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much all the listeners out there, it doesn't matter which company you're with, pretty much everyone says, if you don't read that book and you don't study it and read it once a year, I haven't read that this year. I got to read it again, but read it once
hold you
a year.
accountable
Hold
to
me
that.
accountable to that by then. But that is the best. That's the number one book.
Important 2 things I want to pick up on that. Number 1, you don't have to be a Keller Williams agent to read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. It's read, find it in any bookstore, Amazon, Audible. It's worth it. And then number 2 point that you just made is it's not one of those books that you read once and forget about.
No.
You revisit it because every time you read it, your business is in a different place. You're in a different place, and you're going to take something different from it.
I was at one of Russell Shaw's, speaking engagements. Basically, he said, if you don't read the MREA book, you're an idiot.
I mean, put it bluntly.
Yeah, that was a nice word I used.
Well, for those of us from Boston area, I mean, we like blunt.
Yeah,
that's
anyone
good.
that knows Russell, knows blunt.
And just a little preview for the listeners. We may or may not have Dave Jenks, one of the authors, on our show in just a couple weeks. So
Ooh,
if you want
nice.
to
Stay tuned in.
Stay tuned in.
Yeah.
That'll get
All
me
right.
back.
Question number 3.
Yeah.
Rich, this is the All In podcast where we encourage our listeners to go out there and take immediate, massive action today.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you recommend to real estate agents to go out there and execute on today that will help them move their business forward?
Organize your database, period. Doesn't cost much money. Doesn't cost much money at all. You have a CRM, organize it properly, tag them properly, get the categories properly, and get in there and make phone calls, do strategic pop-bys. Strategic pop-bys means go to their door, knock on their door. Don't do doorbell ditch. When we were young, you ring the doorbell and leave. And
Hope they don't answer.
Yeah, right? You get in there, knock on that door, call your database, and feed that database. And I'm telling you right now, over 72% of my business last year was from my database.
Rich, I can hear the passion in your voice, and as soon as I asked the question, you had the answer ready to go. What is this? Is this something that's top of mind for everybody? It sounds like you're very connected to that answer.
That's it. I mean, right now we just hired 2 people just to manage the database right now because it's that important right now. And one specifically from my personal database, not everybody on the team, because there's so much gold in there, I just can't keep up.
Yeah.
But that's gold. And when a shift happens, because it's going to happen at some point, you're protected. Your moat's being built.
Yep, definitely.
People like that interaction, that one-on-one. They want that relationship. And when it's time to sell, just like stocks, good or bad, up or down, they call their trusted advisor. And if you're not top of mind, they're calling somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the database is number one.
Love
Definitely.
that.
Period.
So much good content in this show, Rich. If our listeners want to find out more about you, get more information that you've put out, where can they find you?
You could come to my my website, thebakateam.com. My foundation is the Richard F. Baca Foundation.org. My cell phone, 602-882-9404.
Whoa, I don't think we've ever had a guest give their cell phone.
Kelly Cook didn't give you the cell phone?
Would you mind giving us his cell phone too, Rich?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
That was his cell phone number, actually. Kelly will love me for that one. But that's how they can get it. I mean, if anyone needs anything, believe me, that's, like I said, I never say no to anybody. I just gave my cell phone out. That's just the way I am, period. Like, and that's, whether it's good or bad, I don't care. People want to text me, text me. I'll answer any questions.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, we will definitely link up your foundation, your team in the show notes, and I'm excited for people to hear this. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
And we're gonna.
I got one question for you, though.
Uh-oh.
The tables have turned.
One question. Did I do better than Kelly Cook?
As you can see, we have a little internal rivalry here. I love it. At Keller Williams, Arizona, we like to win.
That's it. I love
it. Don't tell him. Sure.
Thank you for having me, though. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being with us. Guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the All In Podcast. As always, Joe and I want you to go out now and play All In.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the All In Podcast. We want to invite you to find all of today's resources from our show page at aipodcast.co. We also ask that you take just 1 minute to leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. This is how we grow and how we're able to bring you the best content each and every week. Now go play All In.